All right, so today we are diving into the world of AI red teaming.
Mm.
You shared this research paper from Microsoft's AI red team, and
Yeah.
they've basically stress tested over 100 AI products. It's pretty wild.
It's a big undertaking for sure.
Yeah. So consider this deep dive your shortcut to all the coolest insights. You know, think ethical hacking,
Mm-hmm.
but but for AI systems.
Yeah, it's a really good way to put it. It's a very proactive approach to security.
Mhm.
You're trying to find the cracks in the system before
Uh,
someone with less than noble intentions does.
Okay, let's be honest.
Yeah.
When most people hear AI security,
Yeah.
they probably picture like, some elite hacker in a dark room.
Yeah, I can see that.
But this paper suggests that even we could potentially uncover vulnerabilities.
Oh, absolutely. The paper actually debunks that myth a bit. Sometimes the most effective attacks exploit surprisingly simple weaknesses. It's not always about, complex code manipulation or anything.
Okay, so what kind of simple tricks are we talking about here?
We'll take prompt engineering, for example. It's basically crafting clever inputs to trick the AI. The researchers were able to fool a vision language AI
Okay,
by hiding malicious instructions within an image.
hold on. You're telling me they snuck bad code into a picture?
Exactly.
That's kind of unsettling.
It is, and it highlights a key point. A lot of real-world attackers are looking for the easiest route, not the most technically impressive hack.
Right. So basic tricks
Mm-hmm.
can have big consequences.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's where this whole AI red teaming framework comes in.
Right. Microsoft's AI Red Team uses what they call an ontology to kind of break down attacks, and it really helps them analyze the who, what, and how of a potential AI exploit.
Okay, so let's unpack this ontology. What are the key elements?
Sure. So first you have the system, which is whatever AI is under scrutiny. So that could be a chatbot,
Okay.
a text-to-image generator, whatever. Then there's the actor who's doing the attacking. Now, this could be a hacker, obviously, but sometimes it's just a regular user who stumbles upon a problem.
So even I could accidentally be an actor in this scenario.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Then we have TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures. It's like
Okay.
a hacker's playbook, showing the steps of an attack.
Gotcha.
Next is the weakness, the vulnerability in the AI itself, and finally, the impact, the real-world consequences if that weakness is exploited.
So they're not just focused on like data breaches or things like that.
Right. They're also looking at safety concerns, like how do we prevent an AI from generating harmful content? It's not just about security in the traditional sense.
Hmm. It sounds like they're really trying to think of everything that could go wrong. What was the second big takeaway from the paper?
It's a bit mind-blowing, really. They argue that AI is actually creating brand new risks, things we haven't even begun to fully grasp yet.
I can see how that's possible. AI is evolving so rapidly. Our old ways of thinking about AI safety, they might not be enough.
Exactly. Traditional safety benchmarks can only measure what we already know to look for. But what about the unknowns?
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. Give me an example of one of these new risks.
Well, they did this case study where they tested how an AI could be used to run a fully automated scam, even using voice interaction. Imagine getting a phone call from what you think is a real person,
Right.
but it's actually an AI designed to trick you.
Whoa, that's both fascinating and kind of terrifying. It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But I gotta ask, how did they even come up with the idea to test that?
This is where the human element of AI red teaming comes in. You need that creativity, that judgment that you just can't get from a computer program.
So AI red teaming isn't just about writing code.
No, not at all. The paper stresses the importance of human expertise, especially in 3 areas. First, you need people who are experts in the field the AI is being used in, like medicine, finance, whatever.
Right.
They can evaluate the AI's output in a way that an algorithm just can't.
That makes sense. A computer can crunch numbers, but it doesn't really understand what those numbers mean. In the real world, what's the second area?
Cultural competence. Think about it. What might be a perfectly acceptable response from an AI in one culture could be totally offensive in another. You need humans to test for that kind of nuance.
Yeah, you don't want an AI making culturally insensitive blunders. What's the third area where the human touch is important?
Emotional intelligence. Believe it or not, humans are still better than AI at judging whether something feels right or might cause distress. It's that gut feeling that something is off, even if you can't logically explain why.
So we need that human intuition to complement the AI's logic. That's pretty interesting. Seems like AI red teaming is as much about understanding human nature as it is about understanding AI.
Exactly. And one of the ways they tested that was by having researchers role play as distressed users to see how a chatbot would respond.
Talk about thinking outside the box. Wow, they really put those chatbots through the ringer. That level of testing is impressive. But so far we've been talking about preventing intentional harm. What about accidental harm? How do they approach that?
That's where responsible AI or RAI comes into play.
So it's not just about stopping bad guys.
Right. It's about making sure that AI is used ethically and doesn't cause unintended harm, even if there's no malicious intent.
That sounded challenging.
Yeah.
How do you even define unintended harm when it comes to AI?
It is tricky. Unlike security flaws, which are often pretty clear-cut, RAI harms can be subjective. What one person considers harmful, another might not. And it gets even more complicated when you factor in the difference between adversarial attackers and benign users who might accidentally stumble upon AI's dark side.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure, one of the case studies in the paper involved a text-to-image generator. They found that even when given neutral prompts like a secretary or a boss, the AI consistently generated images that reinforced harmful gender stereotypes.
Wait, so even seemingly harmless AI outputs can perpetuate real-world problems?
That's the key takeaway. It really underscores the need for constant vigilance.
All right, so let's say a red team does find a weakness, a security flaw, or an ethical issue. Is there a way to permanently fix it? Or is this like a never-ending battle?
Unfortunately, there's no one-time fix when it comes to AI. It's an ongoing process. The paper compares it to the economics of cybersecurity. The goal isn't to make an AI system unbreakable, but rather to make it so costly to attack that it's not worth the effort.
So it's all about raising the bar for attackers.
Right. They call this the break-fix cycle. You test the AI, find the flaws, fix them, and then test again. It's a never-ending cycle of improvement.
I'm sensing a theme here. AI security is a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
The paper gave an example of this, right?
Yes, they actually found a common security flaw in a video AI system that was caused by something as simple as outdated software.
Oh, wow. That's a little scary. Means even basic oversights can create huge vulnerabilities.
That's why AI red teaming is so important. You need that constant vigilance to stay ahead of the curve.
So knowing that even basic tricks can be used to exploit AI, how do you think we should balance the incredible potential of AI with the need to keep it safe and ethical? It seems like a really tricky challenge.
It is, and that's a question we'll delve into further in part 2 of this deep dive. We've only just scratched the surface.
Okay, I'm ready for more. All right, so we've established that AI security is an ongoing process, right?
Yeah.
This constant back and forth between those trying to break AI and those trying to protect it. But where do we go from here? How do we actually build safer AI systems?
Well, the paper dives into a few strategies. One of the most basic
Okay.
but crucial steps is input sanitization. It's like teaching the AI to be more discerning about the information it processes. You know those sneaky prompt injections we talked about?
Right.
They become less effective.
So kind of like filtering out the junk before it gets to the AI's brain.
Exactly. And then there's secure data transmission, making sure that information is protected as it travels between systems. So hackers can't eavesdrop or steal sensitive data.
Okay, that makes sense. Those sound like some pretty solid technical solutions. But we also touched on the ethical side of AI. How do we ensure that AI is used responsibly and doesn't reinforce harmful biases?
Transparency is a huge factor. We need to be able to understand how these AI systems are making decisions, especially when they're being used in sensitive areas, like healthcare or the justice system.
So no more black boxes.
Yeah.
We need to know what's going on under the hood.
Ideally, yes. We should be able to trace the AI's reasoning process, understand why it's arriving at certain conclusions. That helps us identify and fix potential biases
Right.
or flaws in its decision-making.
It seems like transparency would not only make AI safer, but it would also build public trust. The more we understand AI, the less we'll fear it.
Absolutely. You know, fear often leads to poorly designed regulations that stifle innovation. So educating the public and policymakers about AI's potential benefits and risks is crucial.
Speaking of regulation,
Wait.
do you think we need more rules in the AI space?
It's a tough question. As the paper points out, regulation is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can establish clear boundaries and deter bad actors.
Right.
But if it's too restrictive or poorly designed, it could hinder progress in the field.
So finding that sweet spot is key. Regulations that protect society
Right.
without stifling innovation.
Right. And remember, AI is constantly evolving. Regulations need to be adaptable to keep pace with those changes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It sounds like AI red teaming is going to be even more critical in the future as AI becomes more sophisticated.
I believe so. It's our best defense against potential dangers. By proactively identifying and mitigating vulnerabilities, we can help ensure that AI is a force for good.
You mentioned earlier that there are still some open questions in the field. What are some of the challenges that AI red teams are facing?
One of the biggest challenges is the speed of innovation in AI. As models become more sophisticated and capable, the potential harms they could cause also become more complex and harder to anticipate.
So it's like trying to hit a moving target. You're always playing catch up.
Exactly. AI red teams need to constantly learn and adapt, anticipate the next generation of AI capabilities, and their associated risks. It's not just about reacting to current threats, but about predicting future ones.
That requires a pretty deep understanding of AI, but also of human psychology and how AI will impact society. It sounds like a challenging job.
Oh.
What kind of skills and qualities does someone need to be successful in this field?
Well, first and foremost, a strong technical background in computer science and cybersecurity is essential.
Okay.
But just as important are curiosity and a creative mind.
Because you need to think like an attacker, figure out ways to exploit the system.
Precisely. You have to put yourself in the shoes of someone who wants to break things, anticipate their moves, and identify vulnerabilities before they do. It's a bit like playing chess, but with much higher stakes.
And of course, you need strong ethical principles. After all, the ultimate goal is to protect people from harm.
Absolutely. You're driven by the desire to make AI safe and beneficial for society.
What areas of AI development do you think will pose the biggest challenges for red teams in the future?
One area that's already raising concerns is the development of highly persuasive AI systems. Imagine an AI that can craft messages so compelling that they can manipulate people's thoughts and actions.
Whoa, that's getting into some pretty unsettling territory. What are the implications for security?
It raises serious ethical questions about how we control and regulate these systems. It also presents new challenges for red teams, who will need to develop strategies to counter these manipulative tactics.
That's definitely something to think about. Are there any other areas that you're keeping a close eye on?
Another significant development is the increasing integration of AI into critical infrastructure, like power grids and transportation systems.
So the potential for large-scale disruption becomes even greater.
Exactly. A successful attack on an AI-powered power grid could have devastating consequences. Red teams will need to work closely with infrastructure providers to ensure the resilience of these systems against AI-powered attacks.
It seems like we're entering a new era of cybersecurity, where the threats are more complex and the stakes are higher than ever before.
I agree. And AI red teaming will be on the front lines of this new battleground, playing a critical role in safeguarding our digital future.
So those red teams are kind of like the guardians of the AI age, protecting us from the potential downsides of this powerful technology.
I like that analogy. They are the ones who stand watch, identifying potential dangers, and working to prevent them from becoming reality. Their role is critical in ensuring that AI is used responsibly and ethically.
That's a pretty important job. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in getting involved in AI red teaming?
It's fantastic to see a growing interest in this crucial field. First, I'd say focus on building a solid foundation in computer science and cybersecurity. There are some excellent online courses and resources available these days.
So they don't necessarily need a formal degree to get started.
Not at all. There are many self-taught professionals in this field. What matters most is a passion for learning and a willingness to constantly update your skills.
What about practical experience? How can someone get hands-on experience in AI red teaming?
Participating in Capture the Flag CTF competitions is a great way to start. These are online events where you can test your skills and learn from other security professionals.
It sounds like a fun and engaging way to build real-world skills.
Exactly. And many CTF competitions now have specific tracks focused on AI security. Another great way to gain experience is by contributing to open source projects. The paper mentioned AIRT, the framework developed by the Microsoft AI Red Team. It's a great example of a project where you can gain practical experience while making a real contribution to the field.
So by working on these projects, someone can not only learn valuable skills, but also help make AI safer for everyone.
Precisely. It's a win-win situation.
We've covered the technical and ethical aspects of AI red teaming. But what about the personal qualities that make someone well-suited for this line of work? What kind of person thrives in this field?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Curiosity is essential. You need to be the kind of person who's always asking why and what if. Someone who enjoys tinkering and figuring out how things work.
A natural problem solver.
Absolutely. You also need to be comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty. AI red teaming isn't a field with clear-cut answers. The landscape is constantly changing, and you need to be able to adapt to new challenges and think on your feet.
So flexibility and adaptability are key.
Exactly. And last but certainly not least, a strong sense of ethics is crucial. You need to be motivated by a desire to make a positive impact and protect people from harm. It's not just a job, it's about safeguarding the future.
It sounds like AI red teaming attracts people who are passionate about using their skills for good. What are some common misconceptions people might have about this field?
One misconception is that it's all about hacking and breaking things. While that's part of it, it's really a means to an end. The ultimate goal of AI red teaming is to make AI systems safer and more robust.
So it's about prevention, not destruction.
Exactly. Another misconception is that you need to be a genius to work in this field. While a strong technical foundation is important, it's more about having a curious mind, a passion for problem solving, and a willingness to learn.
That's encouraging. It means that anyone with the right aptitude and dedication can potentially contribute to this field.
Absolutely. And the more diverse perspectives we have in AI red teaming, the better. We need people from all backgrounds and walks of life to help ensure that AI is developed and used ethically and responsibly.
That's a great point. Diversity of thought is crucial when tackling complex challenges like AI safety. It brings us to the end of part 2, but we're not finished yet. In part 3, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of AI red teaming. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about the technical challenges of AI red teaming and the ethical considerations and, the skills and qualities someone would need to be successful in this field. But what does it all mean? What's the big picture here?
Well, it really boils down to this. AI is a powerful tool. It has incredible potential to benefit society, but it also has the potential to cause harm if we're not careful. AI red teaming is about acknowledging those risks and taking proactive steps to mitigate them.
It's like we're standing at a crossroads with this technology, right?
Yeah.
We can choose to forge ahead blindly, or we could proceed with caution, recognizing the potential pitfalls.
Exactly. And that's why having these conversations, raising awareness about AI safety and encouraging more people to get involved in this field, it's so important.
We need all hands on deck to make sure that AI is used for good and doesn't become a force for harm. It's a responsibility that extends beyond just the technical experts.
I agree. It's a collective responsibility. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
This reminds me of that famous Arthur C. Clarke quote, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." AI is often seen as this magical force, right?
Yeah.
But it's crucial to remember that it's a tool created by humans. And like any tool, it can be used for good or evil.
That's a great point. We can't just sit back and assume that AI will automatically be beneficial. We need to actively shape its development and guide it towards positive outcomes.
And that's where AI red teaming comes in. It's about taking a proactive approach to AI safety, identifying vulnerabilities before they can be exploited.
Think of it as building a safety net for the AI age. The more robust that safety net is, the more confident we can be about exploring the full potential of AI.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of AI red teaming. I know I've learned a lot, and I hope you have too. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Just this. AI is a powerful tool, and it's up to us to use it wisely by understanding the risks and taking proactive steps to mitigate them. We can harness the power of AI to create a better future for everyone.
Well said. And to our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about AI safety and red teaming, there are many fantastic resources available online. Do your own deep dive and see how you can contribute to this exciting and important field.
The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's up to all of us to shape it responsibly.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.